Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Megaman X8. In the last part we went through cleanup in the main stages grabbing the items we were lacking, and now it's time for the Jakob Elevator. Reach the satellite and using the elevator and find Sigma. We're going to be going in with X and 0 because I like that setup a lot even though I don't use the ability with 0 that's really good for the stage and the Resetsu Sen too much because I forget to. Time for the best song in the game.
Orbital elevator control system, all green. You're cleared to move in.
So, the Jakob Orbital Elevator stage. It's my favorite stage theme in the game, I should specify. My favorite song in the game is actually the final boss track we'll see next time for reasons. This is a 5-minute long auto-scroller, with nothing but an enemy rush. It's a good thing the music here's catchy, otherwise this stage would be real rough to get through in that regard, honestly. Not for nothing though. This stage would later be heavily revisited as would its theme in Megaman X Dive, for however much longer that's going to last, because, for comparison's sake, about 2 days ago we got the news that the Japanese and Taiwan servers for that are shutting down, and as someone who's playing on global, that means I have probably about 7 months until, that's gone, and, my thoughts on X Dive are back and forth. I think it's a fine enough gacha as it is. I think it at least has stages that I can enjoy playing and turn my brain off because it's still Mega Man. My goal is to play that game for every day of its existence, and having done so since the global beta, I think I'm going to be able to do that for the Western release, no problem. At least it had its own identity in a lot of regards. The unique characters might be hit or miss for some people, but I at least like it tried things, I guess. Every now and then in this stage you do get a little bit of a stop section where they just throw a bunch of the generic Reploid enemies at you. This is where Resetsu Sen or using abilities that can break shields like Echo's Charge can come in real handy. But I think there's a variety of this enemy in this stage and some of the other stages that's genuinely just straight up invincible without using attacks that pierce shields rather than break them. Because they have a much heavier, like, physical shield. And I'm not exactly sure how to deal with them reliably besides just hammering them until they die by complete chance. I do think there's a checkpoint somewhere in this stage, but I've never been able to recognize where it is in the stage itself for some reason. At the end of the day, as long as you're good about keeping in mind your range, you should be fine. The thing to watch out, though, for, we see this, I think, even in a minute or two, there are bottomless pits in the stage. The very far left and right of the elevator aren't actually platform. It's a circle we're on, and you can fall off the very far left side of it, and the very far right side. So be careful that you don't do that. The music here. The music in X8 in general is really good. I think it's primarily composed by 2 people, Yuko Kamiyama and Shinya Okada. Kamiyama, I think, was one of the composers for X7, Command Mission, and X8, but I think she mostly does a lot of work on some of the later Kingdom Hearts games, but especially Monster Hunter. I think she did a lot of stuff for World and Iceborne, I think both of the Freedom games. And I think she also did work on all 6 of the Pixel remasters for Final Fantasy as an arranger. Whereas Shinya Okada has been working on the sound team for Capcom since I think X5. And I think his most recent stuff was stuff on Monster Hunter Rise from memory. Good stuff. There's a lot of one very similar sounding guitar in it, but I don't mind it as much because at least it sounds like a real guitar compared to the very samey guitar that X2 and 3 has. If I had to pick favorites, it's probably the Jakob Elevator theme, the Vile theme, and the final boss theme. Though the boss theme in general itself, the weapon get theme, and a bunch of the others are still really good. Do I think it's as memorable as, say, X1, 2, or 4's soundtrack? In some regards, no. But it's definitely very good. I wouldn't have minded if this is the direction Mega Man music started to, or continued to move rather throughout the 2000s if we had gotten more X games after X8, but we really didn't, besides maybe Command Mission. I can never remember which of these 2 games came out first for some reason. You also have a pretty good idea of how far you're in the stage, by the way, based off the background, because the further up the elevator we get, the more into outer space you physically get. In fact, if memory serves, by the time we reach the very spacey background, we're just about at the boss fight of the stage. Yeah, there we go. You're approaching the top of the Jakob Elevator. I hope you're ready. Oh no, sensors indicate someone's waiting up there to ambush you. Who could it be? Well, I guess let's find out.
Warning! Warning!
You're struggling awfully hard for a world that's doomed.
So, it was Sigma pulling the strings the whole time, wasn't it, Vile?
You finally piece it together, X? The orbital elevator, the energy, the space minerals, the rocket data, the route to space. The thing that's allowed this world to survive this long is ours.
I don't care what you plan to do. I'll put a stop to it no matter what.
Alright, time for our first real boss fight against Vile in the game. He is still weak to Drift Diamond though, so take advantage of what you've been doing against him in the stages. This is the only time in the game he has his full moveset. He's got the 3 spread shots, he's got 9 shots that'll generally aim at your location, he's got 6 shots that can aim at you directly and they home in. He can shoot 2 charge shots, which split into 8 smaller shots that then home in on you. He can fire a little bit of a fire wave that kind of fluctuates up and down in height that you have to jump over. He can summon 2 of those enemies that are like surrounded with an electrical orb we've seen throughout many of the game stages that I think you need to use a character swap to escape from. And then he's got his overdrive here, which is 6 pulsating bits of electricity that kind of go in and out that you have to just kind of weave between. It'll rotate counterclockwise for a bit and then clockwise, and I think the next time he uses it, it reverses that order. Not exactly hard, not exactly high damage. Honestly, I'd say this is probably Vile's easiest form in the series. Which is just kind of weird. I always found it weird they brought him back in this game after such a long absence. Like, we saw him in X1, we had him in Extreme as well, and then we had him in X3. But I feel like after X3, they didn't really need to bring him back, but at the same time, I love this design for him, and I love Roger Rhodes as his voice actor. I think we got a really good Vile renaissance for a little bit there, but easily his best appearance is Maverick Hunter X overall in terms of his showing. Helps that, you know, you can play as him in that game. But that's that fight down, and then he just leaves. But hey, at least even at this point, you're still getting medals for beating the bosses, so in the case you're running low on medals and you're just trying to get some last minute upgrades, you're good all the way through the final stage in that regard. In fact, in some regards, it might be better to do your grinding for stuff at this point even, because we're coming up on a stage where having a lot of upgrades could come in handy pretty quickly, to be honest. And I'm just gonna refresh my retry chips and my life charges. On to the next stage.
Vile. Sigma. Just like old times.
Zero? Does it remind you of the virus?
So, you heard about that? He tried to use me to destroy the world. That's why I've got to find him and turn him into a pile of molten scrap. Be my navigator. Help me find that maverick before he fulfills his plan.
Well, we're getting pretty close there, Zero, because now it's time for the gateway. Sigma detected at supply relay point. Investigate. This is a stage you're going to want to bring in X no matter what for weapon ammunition reasons, and I also recommend Zero myself, but X and Axel still makes for a great combo. Either way, make sure whoever you bring in has the shield armors, so they take less damage from what's up and coming. And why not, let's bring in Pallet, because it doesn't really matter at this point.
Ready.
I'm picking up Sigma's signal. Be on your guard, everyone.
Another song I really like. The Gateway's theme is just so peaceful. I love it. With that said, the Gateway is our staple since Mega Man. I guess technically since Mega Man 1, but it's more in the form since Mega Man 2. This is our boss rush stage. You got 8 capsules in this room, each marked as a color, representing that boss fight, and there's health and weapon ammo at the top to recover between fights. It's time for us to do our usual and hit the music. I'll see you guys in a few minutes. More like a minute and a half, I think.
transmission. Evacuate immediately to the teleportation site.
Suddenly this place is exploding for some reason. I guess all the explosions probably has something to do with that, huh? And on the way out, you do actually have to use your dash a lot, because the walkway we got into this room with will collapse beneath you. So just hold the dash button, mash the hell out of it, and get to the room we entered in for the boss fight for the stage itself. Get out the Shadow Runner, whichever weapons it represents for the other characters, because it's the boss's weakness.
Warning. Warning.
Sigma?
I shall allow you to call me by that name, for I am indeed Sigma.
You plan to take revenge on every Reploid? Every human? In the entire world? You're completely mad! I'm putting a stop to this right now!
Put a stop to what? We already control the moon. That old world has decayed and rotted. I will usher in a new world to replace it. But before that, X, perhaps it's time for our final showdown. Bring it on!
I love this design for Sigma. It's such a good touch-up on his X1 design in some regards. So, Sigma in this game, not too bad of a fight. I'd say it's about the same difficulties as X7 first phase fight. Attack-wise, he can just charge at you with a Saber Slash, which can do some decent damage. He's gonna occasionally jump up about halfway through the stage vertically and hover there for a little bit, where he's charging his own little charge attack. If you don't break his guard, he fires it, and it's undodgeable, I think. But if you have any way to break his guard, like X's charge shot or just, mashing into him with Axel, it's not a big deal. He can fire some missiles that will just kind of reflect off the walls and ceiling. It's pretty slow, and I think he might fire more versions of it on hard mode, but on his overdrive attack, he kind of references X4 by lighting the floor on fire with lasers. On hard mode, notably, these finds are here for the rest of the fight. On normal mode and below, these dissipate after about just a few seconds, honestly. Not too bad. As long as you have upgrades, even on hard mode, I'd say this is one of the easier Sigma fights. Like, X6's is easier, X7's first phase is easier. If you've got the upgrades and the armors, you're gonna be fine. God, that scream is really good. But surprise, it wasn't Sigma after all. In fact, that fight's name is technically Copy Sigma. So we're not done yet. We got one more stage to go. Yay? Yeah, yay. But with that, I'm gonna need to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching, and in part 9, we head to the final stage of the game and finish off the final X game for the moment. See you guys then.